More than 500 million people use omega-3 supplements. When tested, 97% do not get their desired results. And even worse, they don't know if the products they are using actually work. That's where we come in. Through our disruptive technology, our customers are made aware that they need a real change to get the most out of their life. Our products promote one of the most important building blocks in our cell structure. Without it, your body is compromised. As a partner promoting these products, this becomes your ticket to wealth.
Our mission: we inspire wealth and health for our customers, families, and friends.
Becoming your best is not just about talent and fancy gears.
Our vision: inspire change by being the most customer-friendly direct sales company in the world.
You become the best through your attitude, your hunger, and your actions. In 𝐷𝐶𝐶, we are not afraid to go all out, leading the future to a better place for everyone. We realize we don't know everything, but we still act, and we commit to learn from what we do in order to constantly improve.
𝐃𝐬𝐴N continuous improvement.
There are strength in numbers. We succeed by working together.
We work together, laugh together, cry together, excel together.
In 𝐷𝐶𝐶, we encourage personal growth. We recognize the uniqueness in everyone. We believe in giving back. We create inspiration. We innovate. We are the pioneers of test-based, personalized nutrition. We are lifting the field of health and wellness to a whole new individual level and into the future. This is why our goal is big and bold, yet perfectly reasonable. By 2025, we will have 1 million customers in balance. By 2035, we will have 20 million customers. And by 2050, we will have helped 100 million customers to a life in balance. Enjoy the ride.
𝐷𝐶𝐶, we inspire change in life.
Hello, hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our weekly Doctor webinar. All right, I'm Vincent here, and I will be your main host and translator for today's session. Tonight, okay, for those who wish to listen Mandarin, if you are using a computer to attend, okay, later on you can click on the interpretation icon at the bottom of the screen. It's just like a globe. Okay, and then you can click on Chinese. All right, and of course, if you are joining from mobile, iPad, you can click on the more at the bottom, right, and select Chinese. I will be there doing the translation after our introduction. Okay, and I'm so happy to see so many of you tonight. Okay, thank you for taking your time off to participate in today's session to enrich yourself. What an amazing month we have for November. Every one of you has been doing so well and giving your best. Okay, and we have plenty of rank advancer. Congrats to all the new titles. All right, keep up the good work. Keep sharing the wonderful products with more prospects and more customers. Just like tonight's session, it's actually a very good opportunity for you to send your customer the Zoom link and invite them to listen to our health talk. Okay, as these sessions are all done, conducted by all our professionals, such as Dr. Abraham and our team of nutritionists. Okay, and tonight, okay, doctor will be discussing with everyone regarding dementia. All right. In fact, there are several forms of dementia, and the the common one are actually vascular dementia, and of course the other one is Alzheimer disease. Okay, both are affecting the brains, okay, leading to progressive memory loss, decline in intellectual ability, and also it affects a person's ability to think and make decisions. Okay, and what are the signs of actually spotting dementia, and is there any best way to actually prevent all this from happening? Okay, let us all hear from Dr. Abraham later regarding his insight. And of course, doctor will also be sharing a very important tool that we have over here. That is what we call the balance test. Okay. For those who have not seen it, this is the balance test. Okay, the test is actually one of the key drivers as to why 𝐷𝐷𝐷 has been growing so rapidly worldwide. Okay, every our company out there, they are saying that they have the best product. They had a lot of testimonials. Okay, we at 𝐷𝐷𝐷, of course, do have plenty of testimonials as well. Okay, but of course, we have something that is much better. We use science. Okay, we have a test report, okay, to show that the product that you have, whether the product that you have been taking, are they effective or not? All right. So the balance test, the balance test report will give you a very clear indication of your current health status. Okay, and this will definitely be more important as a society get more educated. Okay, and right now until today, we have done more than 750,000 tests worldwide, and the number is just growing every single week. Not 750, it's 750,000. Okay, worldwide. Okay, so it's an amazing numbers, and it has been growing the numbers is just like growing every week, and I think very soon we'll reach 1 million very soon. All right. 1 million tests very soon. Okay, that will be a wonderful milestone for us. Okay, and for those who just joining us for the first time, okay, welcome to our Well Health webinar. And 𝐷𝐷𝐷 is a test-based nutrition and a public listed company based in Sweden, and also we are also the world leading company with the largest fatty acid test database. Okay, we have the world largest fatty acid test database. All right, so 𝐷𝐷𝐷 has been serving many satisfied customers in Europe over the past years, and of course with the Asian markets coming up, definitely it would be even bigger than ever. All right, and before the end of the session later, okay, we will open up the field for some Q&As. Okay, Q&As, and this is a wonderful opportunity for you to ask Dr. Abraham anything regarding health and products. Okay, I'm pretty sure if you have been talking to our customers or prospects over the past week, you encountered a lot of questions from them. Okay, like for example, how this product can help me, or I have this issue, can I take this or can I take that, Okay, don't worry, we have doctors over here. We have Dr. Abraham here. Okay, okay, do prepare your question in advance. Okay, and feel free to type to ask doctor later. You can type in the chat box later on when we open up the Q&A segment. Okay, so you type in English if you can. Okay, if not, I have to do the translation later. All right, it's a good time. The Q&A is actually a very good time for all to learn and share knowledge together. And of course, as you have more understanding about products, you'll be more confident. And when you share with your friends or prospect, you'll be more convincing. Okay. Before we start, let me give everyone a short introduction of Dr. Abraham. Doctor is based in Malaysia, KL, okay, Kuala Lumpur, and then he has been in the medical field, worked in the hospital for more than 40 over years. So he's a very experienced doctor and has helped plenty of patients back to their health. Okay. Even though he's a medical doctor, okay, he truly believes in the holistic approach to keeping our body healthy. All right. So he's also right now in the scientific advisory board for 𝐷𝐷𝐷 and has been working closely with the rest of the board members to develop better and wonderful product for you. All right. I can't wait to get the session started. So without further ado, let us all type in 888 into the chat box and give our warmest applause to welcome Dr. Abraham, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. Very good evening to everyone who is present today. We have a nice crowd today. And as we come to the end of the year, within about 2 weeks, we will be 1 year older. And our lifespans have increased by another year. Another year, another chance. Now, when we look at our life and the people that we love who live with us, the greatest thing is to engage with them emotionally, in speech, and so on. Unfortunately, one of the things of the process of growing old is this capacity to interact with the loved ones within the family, friends, and so on becomes less and less as we get older. Why is that? It is not the physical weakness or aging process. It is mainly the aging of the brain. I want to look at this process with the broad term called dementia. Maybe that is an extreme, but many things start happening much earlier. We find that as we get older, and I'm talking about the 40s and maybe early 50s, occasionally we forget something. Now, that is already a sign that things are not going too well, okay? Now, as the brain begins to age, the rate of aging is different for different people. And during that whole process, it can speed up, it can slow down, and it can become just stationary. So some people have this experience of degeneration of brain quite quickly, and then they are static for the rest of their lives. Others, very slow, and only people who haven't met that person for a couple of years, when they see them and talk to them, they realize, oh, this person has really grown old. He's not like before, okay? While talking about this topic, I want to set aside two conditions. One is accident, some kind of an injury to the brain. It may be a fall, it may be a head injury, that can knock the brain off quite a bit for some people. So that is not what we are talking about today. And the other one is someone who gets a stroke. It's a sudden occurrence and they lose certain capabilities. That is not what we are talking about. We are talking about what looks like a normal person, and slowly, without realizing, or the realization of the family and the individual, we start getting old in our brain. Now, the brain is an amazing organ, and I'm sure many of you have read about it. It is about 3% of your body weight, and it is very soft. So soft that if you look at a live brain, it is actually pulsating a little bit. You can see the pulsation. And if you feel the brain, it has got the consistency of tofu fa. Yes. So if you just drop your tofu fa on the floor, it will just splatter or crack up, even for a short, very low impact fall. And that is why it is housed in our skull, which is hard, so that it doesn't get damaged easily. Now, our heads can get shaken up quite fast. So it is damage of that nature is prevented by a special water system, a fluid circulating around the brain, protecting the skull from hitting the brain too hard. In other words, we have the skull, we have the brain in between. Between the brain and the skull, there is fluid, and inside the brain is also fluid. Both these fluids have a communication where it flows. So the brain is actually in the skull and floating in the fluid. That arrangement can absorb a lot of the shocks to the brain. Now, as we get older, the brain begins to lose nerves, of which we have 100 billion. That is the estimated number of brain cells. Unlike our skin cells, brain cells that are damaged cannot replicate or multiply. If you have a certain number of brain cells, that number is fixed. If you study hard, working hard with your brain, I mean, all of us use our brain in our work, the capacity is increased, not because the number of cells increased, the number of connection between cells increase. That is why we become smarter, we know more things, we remember more things, we can recall back incidents, words, phrases, descriptions impressions that we obtain through the eyes and the ears, and the taste that we have interpreted through our mouth about different foods and so on. So the final sensory, or you can say processing of all the information that comes in, whether it is touch or pain or a pinprick, apart from the hearing, seeing, and the taste, is all processed in the brain. So now this central processing unit, shall we call it CPU, just like the computer, must function at its best. It is a physical structure, the brain, and therefore the number one thing is to support the structure with whatever requirement it needs. And here I'm talking about nutrition, okay? And we must use the brain. The brain is also, in a way, in inverted commas, a muscle. It is a mental muscle. If you don't use your brain, you will find that you cannot perform tasks as complex as before. You can see this, you can choose or think about a classmate who studied with you in school. Now, let's say he was as good as you, and then for some reason in the family or something like that, he dropped out, he didn't study much, he went to work straight to support the family. So when you meet years later and you talk and you have a conversation, you will find that he hasn't had access to information that you have. And you might find the conversation a bit boring. You find it difficult to keep up meeting with that person often. Now, this is exactly what happens even within the family. When your father or your mother can interact with you very well, we come back, we talk, we share things and so on. And as they get older, the conversation begins to come down. The content is not as comprehensive as before. The content is not expressed in a very exciting way because the number of words they can use is decreasing. And you find that certain jobs that is normally done, you have to complete it or in fact take over housekeeping. Okay, so let us trace the steps and see whether we can catch these things early. One of the first things that happens is occasional forgetfulness. Now, you might say, that is normal. I also get it. I'm only 40 plus and so on. That is the first sign that things are not going too well. Very, very, very early sign. You will have to pause and think about it. Now, towards the end, we'll talk a little bit of how to maintain the brain. But meanwhile, the degeneration part. Then you find slowly your capacity to do more than 2 or 3 things, multitasking. The capacity to do that begins to decrease. Okay, by the way, naturally, women are better at multitasking than men. And in fact, lately, studies show that men should not multitask. They are taxing their brain unnecessarily. Because if you try to do 3 things at a time, you can't do any one of them to the best that you can. Women seem to be able to do that better. So don't try to compete with women. They can be cooking something, hold the baby in one hand, answer the phone from one shoulder while keeping an eye on whether the door is open or closed. Now, men can't do that. So I would say, avoid what you are not built to do. You are built to do other things. You are built to have intense focus on any particular thing that you do. So men multitask when there is no other choice, but otherwise focus on one thing at a time. The brain will thank you for that. Okay, you find that the capacity to do that comes down. Now, There are some things that we do, you can say multitasking, like driving a car. You are focusing on how to drive the car, make sure that it is within your traffic lane, you are on the lookout for anybody crossing. That kind of a multitasking is okay. Now, those tasks become a little bit more difficult. You will not notice it, but when somebody says, hey, let's go out, and you are beginning to look around to see who is going to give the lift, then you know that capacity is coming down. When you're young, you want to give the lift, you want to drive the car, you want to feel that all parts of your brain are working. But as we get older, you see how gradually it sets in, okay? Now, some of us take a direction in other areas. Certain nerves will start working less. Somebody says, hey, Vincent, did you, and you say, yeah, what did you say? The hearing begins to get affected. For many people, it's only a slight amount, but for some people, by about 60 plus, they can feel the difference. It is easier to talk to the person on the phone than directly. Why? Because the phone, the frequency is high pitched, they can hear that. But conversation, which is a little lower pitch, they find it difficult. And as they get older, it gets more and more difficult. And this thing, due to the aging process, is usually both sides. If it is one side, please go and see an ENT doctor quickly. There might be a local problem developing in that ear, okay? So while you're using the phone, switch to the other side, on and off, to see the hearing is equal or not. If you see a difference and it is persisting, you may want to check it out, okay? Now, the next thing is speech. When we are talking, if we keep doing that, looking for words, then the number of words that you are used to is slowly decreasing. If you don't use certain words, you find that during conversation, you know what you want to say, but somehow the word doesn't come to you. And then when the conversation is about finishing or over, you get the word. That is already an early sign that there is brain degeneration coming in. Remembering places, remembering dates. You find that what happened 25 years ago is very clear in your mind. What happened 23 days ago, you're not sure. Your friend reminds you, and then you say, did I say that? Did I promise to come and see you? I completely forget. So loss of memory usually starts with recent memory. These are all early signs that you must pay attention to your brain. All these early signs are at a stage where you can recover if you pay attention, okay? And then, of course, after that comes the more difficult part. You find that you tell your father, mother, uncle, or whoever, elderly person, something, and then 10 minutes later, he comes back to ask you the same question. Now, that is a serious problem, okay? By that time, their ability to react with you in an intellectual way is far decreased, and you find that you can't keep company with them. So when you come into the house, you will greet them. How are you? Did you have your lunch? Did you have your dinner? Okay, and then you neglect them. You know what? That is the stage at which they require frequent interaction so that the brain function doesn't degenerate. And that is the time we cut short our interaction. Can you see the importance of an extended family in an elderly person like that? Who is going to interact with them? Grandchildren. Okay? So if they live in an extended family, these old folks, their brain function degeneration is much slower. because the children will come, or rather the grandchildren will come, force themselves on the grandparents and start conversing, and they have to react. And that is what they need, okay? Now, we have been talking about the more easier ones. Then comes conditions where you need medical attention, treatment. We have heard of many names: Alzheimer's, definite dementia due to vascular disease. Vascular disease simply means blood vessel disease. In other words, the blood flow to the brain is decreased, and therefore the brain begins to degenerate. The brain actually reduces in size as we get older, as we lose neurons or nerve cells. Okay. Now, is there any treatment, medical treatment? Not really. Amazingly, we haven't made any progress in maintaining our brain function. That is why if you go into the internet, you will see a lot of formulas being sold, all consisting of herbal extracts, which are traditionally known to maintain brain function. We don't know how well it works. It does improve the blood circulation or maintain it somewhat, but the stimulation maintenance seems to be difficult. Okay, so what can we do to slow this down? Many people are active right till the end of their life. When I say active, mentally active. Active enough to be able to partake with the family and do transfer technology. All their experience, someone who has lived 70, 80 years, they have a lot to share. And most of the time, we have no time for them. Okay. And when we do have time, they are unable to translate their experience to our modern requirement and put it in such a way that we find it useful. Okay. And some of them, to be fair to the younger people, the old people tend to repeat stories so often, you begin to say, oh yeah, I have heard of this before. How many times? Huh? Okay. So how can we remain mentally active so that even young people would be interested to talk to you and stimulate you even further? The first thing is you have to give the brain what it needs. What it needs is nutrition and rest. The biggest stealer of brain activity is lack of sleep. The number of experiments done is overwhelming. They have subjected to people with lack of sleep, they keep them awake to see how they function. And they have certain, what they call cognitive calculation tests that they give every day. They make them, allow them to sleep only 3 hours, 4 hours, various lengths of time, and then do the test every other day. All measure of intellectual activity decreases. Calculation ability decreases. Ability to make a judgment with even distance decreases. Reaction time, which depends on the nerves actually, okay, decreases if you don't get enough sleep. If they are young enough, you restore that sleep, they get back their functions. Okay, but if you have been working hard throughout your life, denying yourself enough rest, the body will adjust a little bit. Okay, and many people get used to the idea that I'm used to sleeping about 4 hours, that's enough. No, you will get hit much later in life with brain degeneration. The capacity to do things, mental activities, will noticeably reduce. So number one, I would say, is actually rest. Nutrition comes number two. Why? Because the brain is basically fat. It is close to 90% fat. Out of that fat, there is one fat which is number one, the most required. That is DHA. Okay. So the second thing is to provide adequate nutrition for the brain. When I say adequate nutrition, I do not mean very special formulas, very basic building blocks which will support the development of the brain. And that would be, if you need to be very specific, DHA from omega-3 fish oils. Okay, don't get me wrong, you must get your regular vitamins, minerals, enough water. Make sure you drink enough water. Make sure you breathe enough oxygen. When you are under tension, if you look at the way you breathe, you will find the breathing becomes very shallow. There's not enough oxygen going in. So when you take a deep breath, you feel relieved. Now, I don't want to go into a lot of details. The breathing part, when you want your brain or mental abilities to relax, is not the breathing in part. It is the breathing out. You need to breathe out slower and more complete. You don't do that, and your body may force you. That is why we sigh. We sigh, you see? That lengthened breathing out is important. So you're under tension, take a breath which is maybe 60 to 70% of your maximum. You don't have to take a full breath, okay? And when you breathe out a little bit and let out the rest with a long sigh. You will find that you feel more relaxed. This tension breaker, you should do it on and off. Of course, do it alone, not in front of somebody. They might think otherwise, okay? The next thing is this, they are quite surprised to notice that those who are physically active have a more active brain, okay? It doesn't mean that you exercise for hours, no. You exercise enough to break into a mild sweat on a regular basis. It opens up the blood vessels all over the body, and that includes your brain, okay? One organ that uses probably the maximum energy from the body is the brain. It uses up anything between 20 to 25% of all energy that you spend in a day. And those people who are engaged in calculating figures and so on, they burn even more energy. That is why when the exam is near or auditing period is near, many of the auditors, they lose weight a little bit because they are expending more calories. There is more mental activity. And the mental activity that requires most energy is calculating numbers particularly, okay? So if someone who's in that line of profession, you have even a greater responsibility to make sure your brain is functioning at its optimum. So number one is sleep, enough time for the brain to process all the information that comes into your body during the day, okay? Rest, you must get enough sleep. Number two, this is a machine in a way that is working. You must supply all the requirement. That includes number one, oxygen, number two, water, number three, all nutrients, and with a specific emphasis on fat, particularly DHA, which you get from omega-3. Okay. Now, is there anything else? Yes. You want to look after any factor that can clog your arteries. We are always thinking about the heart, arteries of coronary arteries that get clogged. The same factors that clog the coronary arteries also clogs your blood vessels to the brain. Why doesn't it clog the blood vessels to the arms and the leg? We don't know. Though the arteries are the same, the number one area where clogging occurs due to high cholesterol or blood pressure or diabetes is the coronary arteries, that is of the heart. And the number two is the cerebral arteries that go to the brain. That is why a heart attack and stroke seem to be quite close. In fact, when you get a stroke, it's actually a heart attack in the brain. It's the same process, okay? So since the brain is number two on the list, you have to take care with regards to circulation, okay? So these three areas are very important. And at this juncture, with regards to the DHA requirement, those of you who are new, I would like to introduce our product called Balance Oil. It's an omega-3 oil, which is highly concentrated. It will supply more than your daily requirement. And it has got two ingredients, EPA, DHA. EPA is more for the heart and the skin. DHA is more for the brain. Let me get this clear. You require both for all organs. But for the brain, there is a special emphasis on DHA. Okay. Now we have 2 servings. The smaller serving, which is just 1.5 teaspoon, will give you just the DHA more than 700 milligrams. You won't find that in many formulas in town. If those who are 80 kilograms and above, we recommend 12 ml, and you will get 1.1 grams of DHA. That's quite a lot. Okay. Enough for the brain and the nerves throughout the body. Okay. Now, how do we know that this works? Why is your balance oil better than others? And that is what Vincent spoke about, the testing. At the moment, in this part of the world, 𝐶𝐶 is the only company that provides a test so that you can know where you stood before taking the product and after, whether you have benefited from it. You can take a lot of products that get into the body, absorbed. Is it utilized? We may not know. What percentage is utilized? We may not know. Here, you get very specific figures. The figure that we aim for is a ratio of 3:1. 3 parts of omega-6, 1 part of omega-3. And over the last 1 year plus, from the tests we have done locally in Malaysia and Singapore, we find hardly anybody is at 3:1. The closest I have seen is 5:1. And straight away I asked, you must be very careful with your diet. And the person said, yes, it's very extremely careful. And it takes that much to achieve 5:1. Generally, what we see is 20. Now, occasionally we have seen even higher. There was one case we saw 100:1. That was disaster. Now, and I asked that person, why, where do you eat? All the meals were fast foods and he was eating outside, staying at home alone, and nobody to help him cook. So he's been eating out. Of course, he has corrected his habits now. So this achieving the balance and adequate amounts of DHA. You may have the balance 3:1, but if the 3:1 is in the low end, you're not getting enough. So you must have the right balance and you must have the right amount. The tests which break down all this will give you the results. And we also have a website for those who have done the test to go in, that is zinzinotest.com. You put in your code, your test code, you will not only get the results, you will get explanations for the results. Okay, so many benefits. Today, we are focusing on the brain, and the important ingredient that may be missing in your diet is the DHA, and balance oil can restore that very quickly. And I'm talking about a period of about 4 months. Don't wait till you come to a situation where you need that. What about the elderly folks at home? Some of them have already a little bit degenerate. Start now. That process may be slowed down or may be stopped at this stage. Some of them may even recover a little bit. No guarantees, but it will definitely help. Okay, I'm going to stop here for some questions, which is our usual routine. Can balance oil plus Velexir help to prevent Helicobacter pylori? Okay, now it is believed that gastric ulcer is caused by a bacteria. Helicobacter pylori. I belong to the old school. I am not fully convinced of that, but there is treatment available from that. You need a course of antibiotics to clear the bacteria. Okay, so if you're looking at balance soil and Velexir, no, it will not clear that for you. But after the treatment, to restore your health and prevent reinfection, which happens very often, I notice, okay, that will help. Why is my LDL in the cholesterol increase after I take balance oil? Okay, now the time is not mentioned. Oil is still oil. Okay, this is the impression I get talking to our customers and so on. When they start taking balance oil, since they are going to achieve omega-6, omega-3 balance, they somehow feel free to eat oily food. Because I'm getting good amount of omega-3, I can balance it up. Now, that is a danger there. If you increase or carry on as you did, the LDL will go up. Okay, so keep an eye on that. And long term, and I'm talking about 3 to 4 months, not only your LDL, your triglyceride, which is mainly from carbohydrates, should come down. But take the basic steps. Cut down on your carbs, cut down on oily food. I have a friend who has acid reflux, which leads to loss of appetite. Another problem, she has cyst. It doesn't mention where the cyst is. Is she suitable for drinking Velexir and balance oil? Now, yes, I would say anybody, if you need a complete supplement protocol, it will be Velexir and balance oil, basic, unless you have a medical problem. Like here, acid reflux may require medication to help. You see, the tube that goes into the stomach is alkaline, the lining. Stomach is acid. So between the two, there is a tight juncture which makes sure the acid doesn't flow into the alkaline area. Now, there are people who have problem with this tight junction. It is not as tight as it should be. So acid shoots up a little bit into the alkaline area and you get heartburn and discomfort. That is the acid reflux. So for a start, you may need some medication to help you, and look at the food habits, like you need to eat smaller meals. Make sure in between meals you drink enough water. Okay. If you're overweight, try to reduce your weight. A lot of factors go into that. Would balance oil help those with dementia symptoms after having a stroke? Yan Chi. Thank you, Yan. That's a good question. What we forget is somebody who has had a stroke and paralysis one side, we think that their mental function is okay. No, their mental function also goes down along with the stroke. Everybody is focusing on the arm and the leg to do acupuncture, to do massage and so on. We forget the intellectual part. They need frequent interaction. And yes, taking balance oil will help prevent that degeneration. Blood pressure is 150 and above. How long will I see improvement? You may not see any improvement in your blood pressure. You will feel better because you're taking good supplements. But there is one area of your body that is not functioning properly. You will need medical help. You don't get blood pressure from day before yesterday or last week. It has been developing over a period of time, and there will be changes in your tissues. Some of these changes you can't reverse. But If you take action now, further degeneration may be prevented. Sorry. I have customers that is undergoing kidney dialysis. Can he take balance oil or 𝐷𝐿𝐿𝐴? I think we must advise our members not to go near kidney dialysis centers. I get this question very often. Now, kidney dialysis patients usually are unable to pass any urine. So their water intake or liquid intake is restricted by the doctor who is treating. Now, I would say a kidney dialysis patient needs balance oil, one, and also needs 𝐷𝐿𝐴. But 𝐷𝐿𝐴, many people have suspicion whether there are herbal extracts. So show it to your doctor and tell them it is only extracts of vegetables and fruits without potassium. They are very worried about potassium. Okay. Now, then if it is okay, you must calculate the volume. 𝐷𝐿𝐴, one sachet is 50 ml. Let's say the patient is allowed only 200 ml a day. So this will take up the 50. And of course, the balance oil will take up another 10 or 12 ml. Okay. So you work into it, into the total volume, and you can consume. Can balance oil help the kids improve their learning in fast track? You see, when you pressurize a child to study quickly, and nowadays we try to do that, we are asking the child to work the brain harder and faster. Sometimes we have no choice. It is quite competitive. What can we do? Support the function of the brain. So yes, balance oil can help the child to realize his optimal function. Okay. My daughter had a seizure lately. The doctor says it is due to infection. Can you advise if balanced oil will help? Now, if there was an infection, then you see the brain has 3 layers of membrane. When there is an infection, it affects the membrane, and as the infection is going on or settled down, the membrane gets a little tighter. That's how it affects the brain cells, and you can get seizures. Okay. Now, I hope she's past the infection stage, even if she isn't, but is able to consume any food. She should be given balance oil to protect the remaining cells. You see, seizure is when the cell, the brain cell, the signaling is faster than it should be. That means there's a malfunction, short circuiting. Now, balance oil is a contributor to correct that. Not the only thing, but it does help.
All right. Okay. Thank you, doctor, for your sharing once again. Okay. We do see there's an increase in question, which is really a good thing. Okay. This allows every one of us to learn together, and of course, you listen to what doctor has said. You'll be more confident when you are next time when the prospect asks you, you'll know what to answer. All right. I'm sure everyone today has tonight has benefited from your tips and advice. Let us give doctors a round of applause again. Thank you so much, doctor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, if you like what doctor had shared earlier, but you have not tried taking the product, okay, talk to the person who invites you to the call, okay, and before you start taking the balance oil, we do strongly recommend you to do the test first, okay, so that you know where your health status stand. Okay, many of you, you might have been taking other brands of omega-3. I do urge you to take our test as well to see whether the product that you have been taking works for you. You know, we actually have plenty of customers who have been taking the omega-3s, and well, they are so surprised that even after years of taking, they are still not 3:1 balance. Okay, so after taking the balance test, okay, you may consider switching to our balance oil. Okay, and you take 120 days. Okay, this is the balance oil for those who are not who never see this before. balance oil. Okay, it's come in the bottle. Okay, and it's liquid. Okay, balance oil you take for 120 days daily, and then after that do another test again to see your second result. Okay, out of the 750,000 tests that we have gathered so far, we can be very confidently say that you can definitely see an improvement. Okay, and likely to be in balance. Okay, and of course, if you like the product, you share with your customers, and when you have 4 customers, 𝐷𝐶𝐞 will reward you with the free product for your sharing effort. Okay, so and inviting your customers and prospects to attend our Zoom Health Talks are important and critical for your business. And tomorrow at 8:45 p.m., okay, Dr. Abraham will be speaking to us again, and tomorrow he will be talking about strengthening our heart health. Okay, it's regarding heart health. Okay, it's one of the more common disease here in Asia. All right, so do join us tomorrow again. Okay, and make sure that you send the link out. Okay, and invite again so that they tune in tomorrow. Okay, your prospect tune in tomorrow to see how our products can help and why everybody should be taking them. Okay, it will be the same link for tomorrow, and this link will also be posted on our Team 𝐷𝐶𝐞 Asia Facebook. If you have not joined the group, okay, you can go to Facebook and then click on and type in Team 𝐷𝐶𝐞 Asia. Okay, Team 𝐷𝐶𝐞 Asia. Okay, just make sure that if you are not in the group yet, you go there, Team 𝐷𝐶𝐞. Make sure you have your name, make sure you have your ID, so that our moderator or admin can allow you to access the group. Okay, and of course, right now we are also going to have our customer campaign. Okay, this is the campaign that I think everyone is like looking forward to. Okay, it's a time of the year where we have a lot of celebrations coming up. Okay, closer to Christmas, and we have great deals for everyone. Okay, and just for your information, we have extended our Christmas campaign until the end of the month, which is 31st of December. Okay, so you see, all new. What do we mean by this? Okay, all new premium customers or prepaid kit in December, okay, will come with 1 free serum. Okay, so this is the serum. Okay, you can give your balance oil serum to your friend as a Christmas present exchange. And I'm very sure that they will be very happy with the present that they receive. Okay, so one premier kit, okay, 1 premier customer kit, okay, you'll get 1 free serum. So if you have a 10 premium customer kit, okay, that will be 10 free serum. Okay, don't miss out this campaign. Okay, and grab the offer before they are gone, because there's limited quantity for the free serum. Okay, and for partners, you can make use of this campaign to share with more customers. And when you have 10 new premium customers or 10 new partners, you will complete your 10 action point. Okay, for the 200% ECB in January. All right, so make sure all your partners go for the 200% ECB qualification, and you will realize that you will have an amazing start to the new year. Okay, so that's all for tonight. Okay, stay safe, stay healthy. Okay, and tomorrow I'll see everyone back again at 8:45 p.m. Thank you everyone for your participation. Good night. Okay, and see you tomorrow. Bye for now.